Florida homeowners, it's not a question of if, but when the next hurricane will come. No matter what Florida weather has in store, StormSmart has products that protect every opening of your home while improving the look, feel, and function. From durable aluminum shutters, high-impact windows and doors, to our innovative storm catcher screens, products that enhance the beauty of your home and keep your family safe. Because smart is complete hurricane protection, and smart is peace of mind. Call StormSmart today for your free in-home consultation.
When your power goes out, remember just how inconvenient your life can be. No lights, no refrigeration, no heating or cooling, no electronics. But with a Generac home standby generator, you'll have power when you need it. Our Generac generators automatically provide backup power after sensing a power outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Get a free 10-year warranty with the purchase of any air-cooled generator. Call Generac Generators today. Generac Generators. Life is primitive without power.
Streaming from the Tampa Bay 28 Weather Center in Studio A, this is Dennis Phillips Live. Brought to you by StormSmart. Protect every opening of your home. And Generac Generators. Life is primitive without power.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm meteorologist Jason Adams, in for Chief Meteorologist Dennis Phillips tonight. We're calling it Jason Adams Live instead of Dennis Phillips Live. He is enjoying some time off. I'm sure if you followed him on Facebook, you've been following his journey out in Las Vegas. So he is back tomorrow. So I will be in here for tonight. You had Allie back on Friday night. Now you got me here tonight. And of course, we're going to talk about all things freezing cold. Are you ready for this? And a lot of people are saying, oh, you guys are hyping up this cold stuff. It's not going to be that bad. We're talking about a potential record here in Tampa, a 133-year standing record. That's a big deal. We're talking about a record so long standing, something that we haven't seen in 133 years for Veterans Day. So yes, it's going to be an extremely cold setup for us. So we're going to wait for a few more people to jump in here on the chat. You're also watching us on Tampa Bay Spot 66. A couple of commercial breaks for there, but if you're a DPL connoisseur, you're here all the time, you know the drill. We'll do a couple of breaks, but we'll stay live here on our Facebook stream and ask your questions. I've got the questions chart pulled up here, so I will try and get to as many of them as possible. I've also posted this over to my Facebook page, meteorologist Jason Adams, as well. So yes, let's talk about all things cold here, right? How cold are we going to get? Well, there is the chance that here in Tampa, if we fall below 40 degrees, then that would break that record set back in 1892. That is a long record. You usually don't see them that long. And if you see a record that is that long, then you know the story. That is something that just goes to show you how unusual this cold air is that we're challenging a record that's been around for over 130 years, right? So yes, we're definitely going to be challenging that record. That's in Tampa, but a lot of places also inland and north of I-4 potentially could see records that are not just breaking by a degree or two, but shattering by about 5 to 7 degrees. Lakeland, you're one of those spots that if you get down into the mid-30s, that is forecast, you could be breaking your record low set back into the 80s by about 7 to 8 degrees. So that is where we are at right now. Waiting for a few more people to log in here. Hello, everyone. Everybody saying hi. Good evening. Good evening. Hi from Melbourne. Kelly, thank you for joining us tonight. Julie, good evening to you. Bozo Bob. Oh, Bozo Bob is back. I thought he was calling me Bozo, which I've been called worse. So if you're calling me Bozo, I'm okay with that, Bob. But yeah, definitely talking about cold. Ryan, he already filled his tires up in anticipation. And I believe Dennis just posted before Dennis Phillips Live started that image of that icon that, of course, everybody's been seeing on their cars. I preemptively did it last week, so I got tire pressure added into my car because of these cold temperatures that are on the way. Priscilla wants to know, how low is it going to be in frostproof? We're going to get there, and we're going to get to all of your towns. Greg D., amazing meteorologist that we have here on Monday through Friday morning on Good Morning Tampa Bay, he made icons that show temperature and wind chill. You can kind of see it over here to my left. I'll pull that up here in a second, and that's going to really show the story about how cold we're going to get and what the wind chill is going to be like, because we're also under a cold weather advisory, which, if you remember, a couple of years ago, the National Weather Service used to have a wind chill advisory. They changed it over now to a cold weather advisory, and that's for wind chills that could be potentially as low as 25 degrees. So I think we've had enough time for more of us to get joined in on this conversation. So let's pull up our MAX system here, and we are going to talk about the cold air that is on the way. So let me know what you're seeing out there. This again is my second time doing Denis Phillips Live. It's been a while, so I might still be a little wonky and off on some of these settings here, but we're going to get through it, Tampa Bay. All right, so let's start here in and around Tampa Bay. We've got temperatures right now that are already into the 50s here tonight. This is where we're going to be waking up to potentially tomorrow morning. Talking about 38 in Tampa. If we get to 38, that of course again breaks the record that we had set back in 1892 by 2 degrees. Notice our wind chill, that's the color in blue. So in black, that's the air temperature forecast for your community, and in blue, that is the wind chill forecast for you. So 39 in Palm Harbor with a wind chill of 32. I've got you down to 41 in Boca Ciega and Tierra Verde with wind chills at 34 degrees. 35 in St. Pete is your wind chill forecast at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning with a low of 43. So we may not get into the 30s here in a lot of Pinellas County because, of course, we're a peninsula that's surrounded by 70-degree waters. So that'll keep us a little bit warmer, but not by much. I mean, these are really cold temperatures here because our average low this time of year is around 60 to 63 degrees, and we're going to be a good 20, 25 degrees below that, which, of course, is why we're challenging those records. Let's head a little bit farther north here. If you're in the Nature Coast tonight, this is where we have freeze warnings, Citrus County and also inland Hernando County. West of 19, you're not currently under a freeze warning, but I still think here we're going to get very close to freezing conditions, and if not freezing, we'll certainly have some frost out there. So this is the area that we would be concerned about any sensitive plants you have outside or any outdoor pets that usually don't have that warm place to sleep at night. Make sure that they're taken care of as well. Of course, check on your elderly neighbors, those of you who may not have heat in your homes. If you can bring them over to your house for a few hours or let them stay with you through the overnight. Again, this is not the worst cold that we've ever seen, but this is very unusual for so early in the season. So we want to make sure that everybody is taken care of because don't want to have any issues here with the cold. But look at Hernando, down to 24 for a wind chill tonight. 25 in Ridge Manor, Brooksville down to 25 with a freezing temperature for you in the forecast. Once you get into Pasco County, Highway 19, Suncoast Parkway West, we're not looking at freezing temperatures, but we're closing in on the mid-30s here with wind chills tonight down to 28 or 29 degrees. Wesley Chapel, Zephyr Hills, Dade City, San Antonio, St. Leo, down 98, getting into northern Polk County. This is where we're going to run into temperatures that are approaching freezing. So I do think even though there's not a frost advisory in Polk County, we get to these numbers before sunrise tomorrow, there could be some scattered frost for you in Pasco County. Now let's talk about areas to the south. Notice even here, our coldest spots are down to 36 degrees tonight. Wauchula and Arcadia with wind chills between 28 and 30 degrees. Now Lakeland, you could shatter your record low temperature by a good 5+ degrees tonight as your lows record-wise are into the 40s. So we've got 36 for you even over in Orlando, down to 29 for a wind chill tonight. But same as Pinellas County, once you get to coastal Manatee, Sarasota counties, we get help from the Gulf. That's going to boost those temperatures a little bit, keep us at around the 40-degree mark or so. And then we're going to see those wind chills hovering generally at about 29 to 30 inland and about 30 to 35 in our coastal spots. So that's what we're looking at here for your local towns and your communities. We'll come back to this map if you guys want me to. Let me know conversation-wise if that's something you want to see again. But yeah, we are definitely talking about some really, really cold temperatures here as we go into tomorrow morning's forecast. Now the good news is this isn't going to last very long. It's generally going to be tonight into tomorrow morning, and then another very cold night tomorrow night into Wednesday morning, but temperatures will already start to modify a little bit there, more 40s than 30s, and that's where we're going to be looking at the potential for the warm up to begin, and by this weekend we're back into the 80s. So yes, crazy stuff, right? I was on a boat back on Wednesday with my family. They were down from Maryland, and I got sunburnt, and I'm peeling right now. So here I am from sunburnt and peeling a few days ago to talking about the frost and freeze potential and record lows happening here in the Bay Area. So that's where we're at right now temperature-wise. I'll go ahead and get to our first commercial break here on the Spot 66. Of course, if you're on streaming, we're going to continue to talk about it. We'll be back here in 90 seconds for those of you watching on TV. All right, so commercial number 1 is underway. I think we're good there. And some of you corrected me last time, and I remember that it's a 90-second commercial, not 2 minutes and 30 seconds like I thought it was. So, all right. A couple questions. Dave wants to know, when will the wind calm down? David wants to know. We'll start to see them coming down tomorrow. Still a little breezy, though. And then from Wednesday on, we're good to go. No more winds. Chad, are you a fellow metalhead? Ice 9 Kills. Yes, my favorite metal band. Love them. Chad, apparently you do too. I could spend some time with you guys talking about my love for metal music, but a lot of people get scared by those conversations. And it's so funny. I'll be in here at 5 in the morning getting ready for the weekend show, doing my hair and makeup, and I jam to metal music. That's my way to wake up. And some of the anchors will walk in and they'll just, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm great. Good morning." I'm like, "This is how I wake up at 5 in the morning or 4:30 in the morning." So yeah, I love my metal music. 30 seconds before we're back on break. Let's see. Yeah, it feels like Christmas outside. That is for sure. Definitely, we went from so hot in September and October. And remember, our rainy season ended very dry. So that contributed to hotter temperatures in October. So we ended the rainy season on a very hot note too. So this feels even colder than what it would because it's been so hot as of late. All right, we got about 10 seconds left in the break, so we'll hang out here for just a second and get our Tampa Bay 66 viewers back on with us in 3 seconds, in 2 seconds, and in 1. All right, welcome back. If you're joining us here on the Spot 66, we are talking about very, very comfortable temperatures here in a few days after we get through these cold temperatures. So if you are north of I-4, this is where we have the potential to see frost and freeze conditions. If you are south, you're just looking at very cold conditions. I also want to point out too what the forecast looks like here as we get into the holiday coming up tomorrow. And if you are a veteran, thank you so much for your service and all that you have done for our country. We certainly honor and love you here tomorrow as we honor all vets here in Tampa Bay and nationally too. So yes, let's talk about that forecast. We will go from the cold temperatures in the morning. That's a given. By the afternoon though, those numbers, they're going to start to climb, but check this out, only into the upper 50s. That's 20 plus degrees below average for this time of year. 80 to 81 is our average for here on Veterans Day. And we could be talking about the high temperatures being so low that they could be a record cold high temperature as well in some spots of West Central Florida. So the lowest the high temperature has been here on Veterans Day, that's what we potentially have setting up for us as we go into tomorrow. So the good news is no rain in the forecast. Any outdoor ceremonies that we have in the morning, it's just heavy jacket, gloves, hats, your winter gear that hopefully you've dusted it off with all the forecasts calling for this cold over the last few days. Because if not, you'll need them for sure. Mom and dad too, bus stop tomorrow morning. If you can't sit out in the kids with the kids in the car to keep the heat on for them, make sure that they are bundled up. Because again, this isn't dangerous, deadly, terrifying cold that they get up in the north where it's like 50 degrees below zero. But again, this is cold for us here in Florida, especially so early in the season. So that's the forecast here for Veterans Day. Let's talk actual temperatures in your town. So from St. Pete, we'll go to around 42 tomorrow morning to 60 in the afternoon. Tampa, 37, 38 to around 60. So we have a nice recovery in those temperatures, but it's not anything significant as far as a big time warm up goes. And up north from the freeze and frost threat here through 7 and 8 a.m. tomorrow morning to, of course, the temperatures that are still way below average, but at least you can get rid of the heavy coat, go back to a sweatshirt or a long sleeve t-shirt. You're good to go once we get into the afternoon. And then we'll see those temperatures that are back to around 59 to 60 here. I-4 south coastal temperatures, Sarasota to Bradenton, we're looking at your numbers that are generally sitting here at about 60 to 61. So the alerts that the National Weather Service has issued for our area consist of cold winds, cold weather advisory, and that's, again, that replaced the wind chill advisory a few years ago. Wind chills as low as 25 to 35, and then the freeze warning. Want to go through those really quickly. That is just for all of Citrus County and also most of Hernando County. So those are the cold weather advisories. We also have a high surf advisory at the coast. If you had beach plans tomorrow, too dangerous for surf conditions and a high rip current risk. And then if you were wondering, small craft conditions too for boaters, we have that expiring at 4 tomorrow, but seas could be as high as 9 feet. So let's talk about when we get rid of the cold. It's going to be really fast. So there you can see here on the right, we've got temperatures that are going to be at 60 to 70 degrees here for the next 2 days. And then from Thursday on, it's back to typical November weather. And it looks like we're going to go back into a pattern that favors warm weather to last a long time. We may not see any significant cold outbreaks for another 10 days if we see anything within 10 days. It may even be longer than that. So notice the numbers go back up to 77 Thursday, 80 by Sunday, Monday as well. We're looking at mid 80s potentially showing up even in the long-term forecast. So from the crazy cold stuff we're seeing out there tonight to the very warm conditions heading into next week. And as we look at your 7-day forecast, Florida's most accurate, shows all sunshine, no threat for rainfall, no significant weather out there, no significant systems once we get past the cold weather happening here as we go through your Veterans Day. All right, let me get back to some of your questions that you guys may have. Yes, Heather did have her baby. She had a little boy. His name is Ronan, and she and baby and daddy are doing great. She'll be back in January. Of course, she's on maternity leave for the rest of the year. Matt said he got a falling iguana alert. That is true. I don't think it's going to be as cold in South Florida as here, so they may not see too many falling iguanas, but definitely some stunned ones for sure. That is as well. Let's see, Ryan, yeah, tropical weather. There's potential down in the Caribbean. I'll show that briefly here. We got a complex of thunderstorms moving into the southwest Caribbean right now, but thankfully it does not appear that it will develop into anything. So there you can see it, and it's moving to the west, so it would go into Central America regardless of whether or not it develops or at this point at all. All right, let's see. When's the warm weather coming back? Just talked about that. Travis, yes, metal is the absolute best way. Laura, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Oh, Kyle, yeah, I'm a dude's guy for sure, a guy's guy for sure, my man. Let's talk metal all night. We'd probably lose half of our audience because metal, of course, scares people. But yeah, love Ice Nine Kills. I'm also a huge Memphis Mayfire fan. And then Apple Music rotated a couple of days ago, and it switched over to Good Charlotte. I don't know if you guys remember Good Charlotte. Haven't listened to Good Charlotte in years, and it went back to like 2008 Good Charlotte, which that put me in a great mood as well. Mimi from Orlando, thanks for watching us here tonight. And Bolts Blue, yeah, buddy, got my Bolts Blue on tonight. Bolts finally turning things around, thank goodness. Unfortunately, we lost the game yesterday for the Bucks, but hey, we're still 6-3, which is a great record. So fingers crossed that we continue to see that as well. All right, so like I said a second ago, a couple days ago, I was out with my family on the boat. We started out at Anna Maria Island, and then we went to Jewfish Key, and then we went over to Longboat Key. And then we went up to Egmont Key and Passage Key. And this is what my family and I were doing just a couple of days ago, which is just crazy, right? That we're talking about being so cold right now. That's Mom, Dad, my sister, and my nephews. They are down from Maryland. And some of you have been following me on Facebook. You guys know that we lost my brother-in-law to cancer back in August. So my family has come down here, and they're enjoying the warmth, getting a break from everything going on up in Maryland. By the way, we had a Race to Cure Sarcoma 5K that I did last weekend with the family. We raised over $33,000 collectively here in Tampa from all of the teams. So that was amazing too. This is the content that you'll be able to see on my Facebook page though. I am your Florida beach bum, literally and figuratively. That's my Instagram account as well. I'll show you that here in a second. But yeah, sharks, dolphins, manatees, they weren't too far out, too many out this time because of course, once we start getting this cold weather, they start to shift inland. But a ton of sharks. Look at the baby dolphin that we caught here with Mom. Just right at the boat. It was amazing. It was so amazing. And if you've never been down to Jewfish Key before, it's only accessible by watercraft. So you can't just park your car and you're there. So get a boat, get a jet ski, get a paddleboard. I do highly recommend though you be experienced if you paddle or kayak through these areas because it is pretty dangerous when it comes to the high tide, low tide rip currents going in and out. But yeah, this was great. This was great. So I'm showing you this because this is helping me get through what's ahead for us tonight and tomorrow with the cold weather. This is my Instagram account, the Florida Beach Bum. And yeah, check this out. These are some of the dolphins that were hanging out with our boat, a whole family of them. And there were babies everywhere. I've never seen so many dolphins and babies all at one time. And they were just everywhere. And again, it wasn't just the dolphins. We saw tons of sharks, great videos on my Instagram account. And there you can see them. Look at the little dorsal fins there. These babies, some of them, our boat captain said that some of these may only be a week old. They were that tiny. So super awesome out there. This was over towards Passage Key. And by the way, if you're familiar with Anna Maria, Passage Key, Egmont Key, of course, you know it was leveled, unfortunately, here by Helene. And it has not recovered much. It's a little spit of sand out there that's no wider than probably 10 feet now, maybe by 20 feet long. It used to be a pretty large island out there, but the underwater sandbar gives you scenes like this. So yes, as we're talking about freezing cold temperatures, this is what I was doing just a couple of days ago. Check it out in this video. You'll see a flying fish come by. Have you ever seen a flying fish while you're out on a boat? And look at the dolphin. Tries to take him for breakfast, for lunch, but he didn't succeed with that one. But how funny is that? So yeah, this is the content that you will see outside of me being a TV weatherman. I do post a little about metal. I also do post a little bit about, family life and things going on. So again, if you are ever interested in talking to me on social media, those are my other channels that you can reach me as well. Let's see. Yeah, Heather, I think it still says APL. I thought I changed it, so yeah, I didn't change it. Oops, that's the mistake I made tonight. Hey, I'm doing good. I haven't made any video mistakes, and that, of course, is the most important. All right, hang out. We're going to go to a commercial break. If you're watching us on the Spot 66, we'll be back in 90 seconds. All right, 90 seconds is rolling. So far, so good. You guys seem to be okay with my conversations here tonight. Sandy, thank you. Great videos. I know I love it so much. Dara, thank you so much. We'll talk a little bit about Matt. And when I did Dennis Phillips Live the first time, it was right after Matt's funeral. And I had a chance to talk to you guys about his passing and his cancer. And it's a very rare cancer, so I'm going to continue to do it. And this is really just the start of me talking about liposarcoma, dedifferentiated liposarcoma, because I never heard of it before. Nobody really has ever heard of it before. And unfortunately, because of how rare it is, Matt didn't really have any options to help him. So we'll talk more about that 5K. Actually, while we're doing that, let me pull up those posts on my Facebook page as we await the break to roll. Oh yeah, check this out, Facebook. I went to Busch Gardens too with the family, and as we were getting on Iron Gwazi, that guy walked right in front of us. He was a harmless black snake though. These are the friendly ones, so we weren't too worried about it, but that would have been something if he made it on Iron Gwazi, and as we're 200 feet up in the air, he popped up. Yeah, that would have been terrifying, but yeah, he was harmless, little tiny snake there. Let's see, did I pass it? I might have passed it. 15 seconds on the Tampa Bay break. Yeah, bear with me. I'm going to keep scrolling. 9 seconds for the break to come back. Let's see if I can find the posts. Yeah, here we go. All right. And break now. Welcome back if you're watching us here on the Spot Tampa Bay 66. So we talked about the weather. We talked about the cold air. I'm going to use a brief amount of time to talk about my brother-in-law, Matt. Many of you know, and you've been watching us, our coverage here at Tampa Bay 28. The station has been so good in helping me get the message out about this cancer. And it's not about me, it's not about my family, it's about you and saving you if you run into something, what we did with Matt. So on the right, you'll see it. That is the, we had a 5K last weekend at Gadsden Park in South Tampa. We had over 200 participants and then a few more hundred people that were out there supporting those who have battled cancer, those who are still battling it, and those who have lost someone. And unfortunately, we lost my brother-in-law, Matt, but my sister and I, we together with our team raised over $3,300 for the Race to Cure Sarcoma and the Sarcoma Foundation of America. And we actually got the second place award for the Sarcoma race. So that was pretty cool. So thank you so much to a lot of you who were there. And also to those of you who donated, because every single dollar is going to hopefully bring us closer to a cure for sarcoma. Again, Matt's cancer was dedifferentiated liposarcoma. 1% of all adult cancers is sarcoma. 21% of pediatric cancers is sarcoma. And Matt-specific cancer, there aren't very many treatment options for him. The only one really was surgery to remove it, which they did, but it came back, and it came back everywhere so fast. We got him on one round of chemo, and unfortunately a month later he had passed. So this is my moment to talk about that again. This is now one of my life goals, is to continue to spread awareness about sarcoma. And again, shout out to my managers and my team here at Tampa Bay 28. So many people reached out to me the day of the 5K to say, hey, we're not there, but we're with you in spirit. And we know that you're making a big difference for Matt. So sarcoma is getting talked about a lot more than it likes to, and what it has and what it's going to. So we're already on the right foot talking about it. So if you ever encounter sarcoma, hopefully right now you take that moment to go and review it, study it a little bit, try and understand it a little more. That way, if something comes up, you can think about, is this sarcoma? Maybe you get a jump start on it, because with all cancers, no matter whether it's highly funded or it's highly curable or it's not, either way, the sooner you catch it, the better your chances are to survive it. Unfortunately, by the time we caught it with Matt, he had a 5-inch tumor on his kidney that completely encapsulated his kidney. They took it out, they took out the kidney. We thought he was good to go, started him on chemo, and then just like that, it spread so fast. So in memory of my brother-in-law, Matt, we love you, buddy, we miss you, but I'm pretty sure Matt's passing is saving a lot of lives by us being able to talk about sarcoma. All right, one more commercial break, then we're gonna come back, wrap up the cold weather talk, and I'm gonna try and get to some of your questions here if you're on Facebook in our next 90-second break. We'll be right back if you're watching us on Tampa Bay 66. All right, so thank you again, guys. I know so many of you, whether you contributed or not, you have been so kind to my family when it comes to sarcoma and us losing Matt. So thank you again for every, whether it's just been a message to say, hey, we're thinking about you and your family, whatever it is, thank you so much. We appreciate it, guys. All right, so what else can I talk about? Let me go to your questions. Let's scroll down and play some catch up. Thank you all so much for all of your comments about our loss. Great video. Yeah, great dolphin videos. I'm glad you guys loved it. Yeah, Busch Gardens, so much fun. I cannot say enough about Busch Gardens. And I think Busch Gardens gets kind of a bad rap when you compare it to like the Orlando theme parks. They're great too, but we're the roller coaster capital of Florida, right? We have all the big kid coasters over here, more than any of the other parks do over in Orlando. Don't get me wrong, I went to Halloween Horror Nights. I got terrified by the Terrifier. It was great. I love it. But I love going to Busch Gardens and being able to get on Iron Gwazi, Montu, Cheetah Hunt, anytime I want. And it's right down the street, right? So you go over to the other theme parks and they're a lot more family friendly. Me being a guy that has no children and loves to be scared, I want the big kid coasters. So yeah, I had a great time at Iron Gwazi. Absolutely love that coaster. And if you have not done Iron Gwazi, oh my goodness, you are in for a treat the first time you do it. All right, let's see. Welcome back, everyone. For those of you watching us here on Tampa Bay 66, we're going to recap the cold weather one more time, and that's going to do it for us here on the spot. I'll hang out with a little bit here with you guys a little bit on Facebook as we continue to talk about the cold coming up here. But yes, it is going to be really chilly tonight. So we've got, let's see, I'm supposed to be ending the Tampa Bay 66 spot at 7. These are my super sophisticated science notes on a piece of paper with a Sharpie. 7:57. So if you are on the spot 66 and you want to continue our conversation on Facebook, go to my Facebook page or Denis's. My Facebook page is meteorologist Jason Adams. If you're curious about my Instagram account, it's all beach stuff. I barely post weather on there because I am obsessed with our Gulf beaches. So I post a lot of beach stuff over there. It's the Florida Beach Bum on Instagram, and on X, Jason Adams WFTS is where you can find me. Anna Maria, no worries. You're here. That's all that matters. Yep, Travis said Bucks lost, but we have Baker. So some people are thinking Baker is hurt. You can kind of tell he's just not who he was a couple of games ago. So hopefully it's not anything serious. He was still playing awesome for the most part. And hopefully we can get some of our injured players back before the end of the season as well. Rochelle, thank you so much. Let's be welcoming the meteorologist Jason Adams. Yeah, I don't get too often here to do Dennis Phillips Live. I am not the weekday person. If you know anything about me, you know you see me Saturday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning, Sunday night. I have my 5-day work week is Friday through Sunday, and then I'm off Monday through Thursday because I do doubles on the weekends, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Oh, let me tell you, a 4-day weekend is amazing. Absolutely love it. All right, enough about me. Let's get you back to our WSI Max computer here, and let's talk about the cold one more time as we wrap up here on Tampa Bay 66. There it is. Temperature is what you're seeing on the left. That is your air temperature forecast 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. If you're on the right side in blue, that is what we're looking at for wind chill forecasts here tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. So yes, it's definitely going to be a bit chilly out there with a potential record low here in Tampa. If you missed that a few minutes ago, record low is 40 degrees set back in 1892. That is a 133-year long-standing record, which just goes to show you how abnormal this cold air mass is. This is something we would see usually in January, February, not here in November, hence the record potential for us. There are no advisories for frost or freeze conditions south in Tampa Bay. However, once you get to Hernando and Citrus, this is where we have a freeze warning, and these are where temperatures are most likely going to get below 32 degrees. So don't forget those sensitive plants. I'm a plumeria dad. I've got some potted plumerias, and I'm not in these areas. I'm down in Tampa, but I did bring them in tonight because they're tropicals, and of course, tropicals will have a hard time in these temperatures. So if you're up north, I highly suggest doing that, and also making sure the outdoor pets, never forget them. They need a warm place to sleep tonight too. And then our southern spots, I think there's the potential for some patchy frost along Highway 17. I think the number's down to 36, 37. There could be some lower lying spots that get a little bit more in the way of some of that chill out there. So that's what we're looking at here for your temperatures. And then one more peek to your Veterans Day. Again, I can never say thank you enough. I'm an Air Force brat. I have veterans in my family, and I am so thankful when you guys thank my family for their service. So let me do that here for you. If you are military, active duty or not, you have served our country or you're currently serving, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart and from all of us here at Tampa Bay 28. We absolutely are so thankful for what you do for our country. Now here's temperature-wise in the afternoon. Notice it's really cold. This is closer to our average low temperature here this time of year in the upper 50s to around 60. That is our average low temperature, and we're barely going to get there for our high temperatures. So yes, it's going to be a bit chilly out there for us as we get out the door tomorrow. So, all right, that's going to do it for us here on Tampa Bay 66. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're going to wrap up our live coverage here on the spot at 7:57, just before 7:58. So we got about another 15 seconds to go. So again, if you want to continue the conversation, I have shared Denis's Facebook Live over to my Facebook page, meteorologist Jason Adams. And I am also streaming this, of course, on Denis's Facebook page as he is enjoying one more day off before he gets back here. So thank you again. Enjoy your night, and we'll see you over here on Facebook. All right, we are on Facebook only now. And now is the time that I can spend more on your questions. So I'll hang out here with a little bit for you guys. My stomach's been growling. I don't know if you've heard it over my mic, so definitely going to have to run out and get some food here in a minute. But yes, we continue here on Facebook. So ask me your questions if there's anything in this brief DPL that I didn't cover that you're curious about. Let me know. Travis, thank you for talking about sarcoma awareness. Appreciate you for saying that. Everybody sending their hearts and love and strength for my family. Again, thank you so much. And Annette Gutierrez, she's our weekend reporter at Nightside, and she came out that morning to do a live shot with me, and I had the CEO of the Sarcoma Foundation of America with me, and we both talked for about 2.5 minutes each, so about a 5-minute live shot. And she asked me, she was like, what is it about sarcoma that people need to know? And I think honestly, the thing that people need to know is that it is the majority of the funding that we get comes from the government, and it comes from the Sarcoma Foundation of America. The goal for the Sarcoma Foundation of America this year is only $1.6 million. That's it. When I worked with the Making Strides campaign for breast cancer in Cincinnati, when I was up there in one race, we raised collectively in the city of Cincinnati $500,000. In this one race here in Tampa, collectively we raised $33,000, and we were ecstatic with the $33,000 because again, it's such a rare disease and nobody knows about it. I didn't know about it, and again, my family has been going through cancer for the last 15 years. Mom is a stage 2 breast cancer survivor. She is now a stage 4 lung cancer, metastatic lung cancer survivor. It spread to her brain, and she's had 5 tumors removed from her brain. She's had 2 tumors from her lung. Some of you were asking about Mom, and I did see that, and I didn't get a chance to say that Mom's doing great. So thank you for asking about Mom. We're so thankful that she's okay. So when you hear those stories, and my dad, he's a prostate cancer survivor. He had prostate cancer to remove the prostate, and then he went on radiation treatment, and then he's been on medicine for years now since then. So all these cancers that I've been dealing with within my own family, and then also as a volunteer with the American Cancer Society for the last 15 years, I've done Relay for Life, did several Relay for Lives over in Arkansas when I was there, and then when I got to Flint, Michigan, we did Pink Night. And if you're familiar with Pink Night, it's a breast cancer awareness fundraiser. Teams decorate bras and brassieres and the craziest decorations, whatever you want to do, and then they auction them off, and all that money goes to the breast cancer awareness campaigns here for the American Cancer Society. Did multiple ones of those, raised over $50,000 in Flint in just one event. So again, that's what I want to talk about with sarcoma, is that it's so rare and so many people don't know about it. And all this money that has gone to lung cancer, to breast cancer, to colon cancer, we've gotten multiple ways to attack these and give people chances to fight these diseases. And my mom is case in point. She was stage 4 metastatic lung cancer. The survival rate's not very good. She's here with us 2 years later, cancer-free. So with that being said, those cancers are people are much more aware about them. So there's so much more money that goes to those, and that's what's given all these options to save lives. That's what I'm hoping we do with sarcoma, because again, the goal for the Sarcoma Foundation of America is only $1.6 million this year. Again, in Cincinnati, in one Making Strides race, collectively as a city, we raised over $500,000. That would be half of our goal in one event if we did that here for sarcoma. So that 1.6 million is so little, it's so little. So I would love to see that number just grow and grow and grow and grow. And last thing I'll talk about with sarcoma, and then I'll get back to talking about the weather. Sorry, going on a tangent here, but it's Facebook, so it's okay. That's what we do. There are 100 subtypes of sarcoma, and Matt's subtype was called dedifferentiated liposarcoma. And what's crazy about what he had was it was a fatty tissue cancer. My brother-in-law had 0 fat on him. He was 6'4", 225 pounds, worked out 7 days a week in his basement, and he has always been that way. He literally was our Superman. So when he got cancer, we were like, buddy, you got this. This is nothing. And he was diagnosed in March, surgery in April to remove the tumor from his kidney, and then in June, it came back, We started him on chemo in July. He died in August. It was that fast. So within 5-6 months, that was all the time we had from him being diagnosed to when he passed. So if anything that I can do, if you ever have questions about sarcoma, if you ever have questions about any cancer, I'm an open book. I'm not a doctor. I just have a lot of experience with it, and I can guide you into directions to help you and your family make decisions, or to help you and your family get advice from people who are doctors or people who work with the American Cancer Society who do this for their life. But with my brother-in-law passing, amazing guy. It's been so hard. It's been so hard. But because of how amazing he is, again, his death is saving lives, because sarcoma is getting talked about a lot now, and it doesn't want that. So, all right, moving on. Thank you again for all your love, guys, with my brother-in-law Matt passing. Anything you guys want to talk about tonight, let me know. I got the questions still pulled up. Let me actually go over to my Facebook page and see if anybody's been posting some questions over there. I'll try and get to some. Nope. But Allie liked it. Thanks, Allie, for liking my DPL post. Let me go to Dennis's page, because we have two ways that we can get your questions. One is on the stream, and then one is on Facebook itself. So Elaine, we actually did touch on Tropics, but I'm happy to do that again here for you, and I'm happy to do it because there's nothing out there. That's the best part about this as we go into tonight's forecast. So the last several days, models have been hinting that there could potentially be something developing in the Caribbean. That hasn't come to fruition, thankfully. We're still watching this area because clearly you can see the blow up of showers and thunderstorms that have gotten going here. Gotten going? Do I need to go back to grammar school? Anyway, yes, there's the blow up of the showers here in the Southwest Caribbean. Regardless of development, this is moving west into Central America, so it looks like it's going to be a rainmaker for our friends down there, but we're not expecting this to be anything too troublesome for them, and nothing that would turn north into the Gulf. I did talk about this tonight on our newscasts, that 1 year ago we had Category 3 Raphael in the Gulf. Remember that? Today was the day that it died. It went away today, but it did come into from the Caribbean. It hit Cuba as a Cat 2, and then a Cat 3, and then it weakened to a Cat 2, then it ramped up to a Cat 3, and then it died in the middle of the Gulf. That was 1 year ago today. Now, 2 or 3 years ago today, we had Hurricane Nicole that hit the east coast of Florida. Remember that? And it came over to us as a tropical storm. And as a tropical storm, it still brought 60+ mile-per-hour winds and lots of power outages with Nicole. And that was here in the beginning and middle of November. So by no stretch are we done with the hurricane season. But thankfully, there is absolutely no concern out there right now for us with this blob that's trying to get going here in the Caribbean. And with these cold fronts that are coming, and especially this one being an Arctic front, this one's pushing all the way into the tropical areas too. Even South Florida is going to get cooler. They're not going to get as cold as us. They're not going to see 30s tonight, but this cool air is going to prevent anything from developing, and it's also cooling down the Gulf water temperatures. Our buoy looks like we lost it. That gives us the Clearwater Beach water temperature. Let me see if I can pull that up and see if it's come back yet. Yeah, it's still not there for us, but I imagine with the cold night ahead for us, over the weekend it was 77, 78 in the Gulf. When I was here Saturday and Sunday with your forecast, it's not 77, 78 anymore. It's definitely going to be in the low 70s, and as you know, tropical systems love water temperatures that are over 80 degrees. And Travis is saying the tropics weird, don't remember a year where there was no development. We had one system that developed way back in the beginning of hurricane season. It was Barry. It was a tropical storm, and it moved into southern Texas, North Mexico, I think, around the Rio Grande. That was it. But this would be a year that we have had no hurricanes in the Gulf, and no idea at all when the last time that has happened, but I am certainly not complaining. If you follow me on my Facebook page, you saw my post. My tile has finally been installed. The same tile problem that I was dealing with a week after Hurricane Milton destroyed my roof, and I had water damage. I had to have a whole new roof replaced, and can't talk about the reasons why it took so long for legal reasons, and I'll leave it at that. But I had to do what many of you Floridians have had to do, and finally got to a point where some money came my way, and my floors are now done, and this will probably be the last time you'll ever hear me talk about my tile floors ever again. It has been such a process. And in the same time in saying that, I am obviously well aware that some of you still have not got back into your homes yet, especially with Helene damage. So in saying that I am grateful for where I'm at, I am still thinking very much about you guys who are still not there yet. And I hope and pray that that day is coming for you very soon as well. A couple of people were talking when I posted on my page that we were finally to a point where the tile was coming into my house. Some of you are saying, we got the 4 walls up, but we still can't live in our home. So hopefully that's not you. And if it is you, fingers crossed for you that we're coming to a close here with all things Milton and Helene problems that we had last year. Long-term future cold fronts that Melissa wants to know about. Nothing. There is absolutely nothing that we are tracking right now. Long-term 10-day forecast goes all the way out to next Thursday, and we're into the mid-80s in those long-term forecasts. I think I changed it up to where you can't see my graphics, so stand by. I'll get that back here for you. Yes, right there, pulling it up just full screen for you. So this is the 10-day temperature outlook, and I'm not seeing anything here that would give us opportunity for another cold front. And while we're doing that, let me see if I can pull up the Climate Prediction Center's outlook. They are the ones who put out like monthly outlooks versus us having like our 10-day model runs. So let me see, I'm sure Dennis has gone over that with you guys before. Yeah, the 8 to 14 day outlook is still the same. Let me see, 8 to 14, and temperature and precip. Precip's near normal. The 1 month outlook. Yep, so let me switch over sources and I'll get you guys to see this too. So this is the Climate Prediction Center's website. They are the ones who give out these long-term outlooks. And what you're looking at is the monthly temperature outlook. So right now here, right here in Tampa, Florida, and in Tampa Bay, we're right on the line between equal chances of cooler weather and above normal weather, which usually means that we don't have any significant storm systems on the way. And we'll pretty much see our typical weather, which is upper 70s here, mid to late November, with lows into the 50s. Now, if we go to the 8 to 14 day outlook, this is the short-term one. Clearly, you can see that we are in the orange here for the above average temperatures. So we've got roughly, let's see, it's leaning 40 to 50% the chance of being above normal with temperatures all the way through November 24th, which puts us very close to Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving the 27th this year. And precipitation wise, looks like we're pretty much near normal. And as you know, that means nothing. It's the dry season. November, December, January, February, and even into March tend to be really, really dry for us. So that's why we're not seeing anything that is too exciting for another cold front. So cool weather fans, you gotta take advantage of what we have out there right now, because once we get past this front, that's it. It's back to Florida weather and the Florida beach bum. Happy about that. I love to be out on my paddleboard in November while all my friends and family up north are dealing with snow. By the way, did you see the Chicago situation that happened with snow? So they get lake effect snow, crazy lake effect snow. I worked in Michigan for 2 years, so I saw it all with the lake effect up there. Chicago, the forecast from the National Weather Service for downtown Chicago was 1 to 15 inches. And people are like, kind of a stupid forecast is that, right? But it is a legitimate, very smart people, very smart meteorologists forecast, because that's the craziness that happens with lake effect snow. That band did clip Chicago. The lakefront saw nearly a foot of snow just to the south of downtown Chicago, but at the airport at O'Hare, they had only an inch of snow. So that's the 1 to 15 inch forecast that was very accurate from the National Weather Service up in Chicago, because those lake effect snow bands are crazy. Now, we could theoretically see Gulf effect snow if we were to ever get a cold enough air mass. And we actually do several times a year, especially early in the season with these cold snaps, we get Gulf effect rain showers, and we have Gulf effect clouds that develop from the cold air moving over the Gulf and then heading back inland where we live. Sometimes a little bit of moisture can get scooped up and you can get a sprinkle, a Gulf effect rain shower. And if it were ever to get cold enough, you can get a Gulf effect snow shower. Even over on the Atlantic, if you get a north wind that parallels the coast and then part of South Florida that juts out a little bit, or Cape Canaveral, you can get some snow flurries off of the Atlantic from Atlantic effect snow shower. So crazy that that's what happened in Chicago. But again, a 1 to 15 inch forecast, even I laughed at it, and then I was like, oh wait, it's lake effect, that's why. Okay, it's a legit forecast. So yeah, smooth sailing here for us for cool weather, it looks like, for the next several weeks. We are not looking at any kind of significant cold snap after this one. So once we get past tomorrow, we're good to go. We are back to feeling great, and warm weather fans rejoice. And if you missed it on DPL earlier tonight, I talked about my Instagram account, and let's just roll this video, all right? Look at that. That, my friends, is where I was back on Wednesday. And outside of weather, my life revolves around the Gulf. I am a Florida boy through and through, grew up in Panama City. Mom and dad are up in Destin now, and if you follow any of my social media accounts, you already know this, but yes, just a few days ago, we got sunburnt, my family and I, on the boat. We were able to rent a boat, had a captain, and he was awesome, and he took us to all the great spots down there that I usually go to on my paddleboard. But let me tell you, going out on the boat, way better, because so much less workout. But that's the way I get my workouts in, as I go out paddling here. So that was Jewfish Key. If you've ever been down to the sandbar, that was a long time ago. That was Anna Maria Island back in 2023. But these are some of the scenes that I was enjoying with all this warm weather we had last week, just a couple of days ago. We had dolphins tailing our boats. We had sharks showing up at the Sandbar Passage Key. By the way, if you are unaware, Passage Key is a clothing optional place. I don't know if that's an actual law, if it's legit, or if that's just what locals have made it. So if you want to go to Passage Key, you ever see my post on Passage Key, just be aware, this is your warning. You're not going to only see sharks out there. You might see something you don't want to see out there. Thankfully, my family did not. We were good. We did not have to censor anything being out there at Passage Key. God, I love Florida. Florida's the best. So yeah, sharks were swimming right up to the boat. And let me go back a couple of other frames. Let me see. Let me pull up that one that I posted all the dolphin videos. Yeah, here's the dolphin ones. Shark. Nope, I guess I didn't post all the dolphin ones. I think that's on my Facebook page. Maybe that's what I'm confusing it with. Let me scroll back up here. Find the posts. There's the post. So yeah, these are all the dolphins that were following us that day. More sharks. Look at the baby. Yes, this is what I want to do. If I was not a meteorologist, I would be doing something to be an ocean conservationist, but I love the weather just a little bit more than I love the ocean. But yeah, I love being out there. And that's the Jewfish Sandbar, Jewfish Key. By the way, all the deforestation that happened from Milton as the eye wall moved through here, Jewfish used to be so much more forested here. It was so thick. And now you can see right through it to the other end of the other side of the island over there. Crazy to see that. And yeah, this guy out there had his pooch that was out there. Look at that, how cute. Dog was in the water. The Jewfish Sandbar at low tide, there are spots that are only a foot deep, so it was awesome to see the pup out there. And this is Longboat Key. This is the south end of Anna Maria and the north end of Longboat here at Longboat Pass. And there have been some big changes there as well over the last few years with them trying to renourish the beach, and then of course all the hurricanes that came through. So that's the other part of Jason Adams as we're talking here on Jason Adams Live, AKA Denis Phillips Live. That's another big part of my life, is getting out there on the Gulf and doing as much as I can for conservation. Love protecting our manatees, our sea turtles. By the way, huge sea turtle nesting season this year in Anna Maria Island. Numerous sea turtle nests, and even with some of the storms that came in and disrupted some of the nests, of course not any tropical systems, thankfully, that was a part of the reason why this year was a record-breaking sea turtle nesting season for us, is because we didn't have the storms that came in and destroyed a lot of the nests. And by the way, if you're worried about that, sea turtles, they're a lot smarter than we are, and they've been around for thousands and thousands of years. They nest multiple times per season, so the same mama turtle can lay 3 or 4 separate nests. Sometimes not all of them get fertilized. That has to take care of business out in the Gulf or in the Atlantic, but that is something that they do. They lay multiple nests, and that's, I guess, their kind of way to make sure that something survives should the hurricane season be there. So Colleen, Dennis is just off. He went to Vegas back on Friday. He posted about it on social, so you probably just missed those posts, but he'll be back tomorrow. So Allie was here Friday, I'm here tonight, and then it should be back to Dennis being here for you as we get there. Mary, thank you. Yeah, that's the best part about Denis Phillips, and that's why Denis Phillips Live has been so successful, because we don't get too often to just sit here and have a conversation with you and talk about things other than weather, because obviously on live TV you have time restrictions. And I could talk about anything and everything for hours and hours and hours. I was definitely the kid in school that got sent to the principal's office for talking too much, and then in high school the most likely to have a job as a journalist because I talk too much. That was me, this guy. So yeah, meteorologists, we're a special breed. We could talk for hours and hours and hours, as some of you have seen with our hurricane coverage. And man, let me tell you, it's been so good to not have to do that this year. I've been here for 8.5 years now. And in the 8.5 years that I've been here, I've covered 10 storms, 9 here in Tampa Bay and 1 in Louisiana when I flew out there for Francine last summer. And then I was involved in the plane accident. Remember that? If you missed that, Delta plane clipped the tail of our plane as we were in a spot off on the runway. And I guess the pilot didn't pull up enough, and it clipped the tail and it tore the tail off. And it's crazy, scariest 15 seconds of my life, but thank goodness we're good. But anywho, yeah, that was 10 hurricanes, 10 tropical systems that I've covered since I've been here. And this will be the first year since I've been in Tampa, when I arrived here in 2017, that I've not had to be here with Dennis for 25 hours straight, nonstop covering a tropical system. So love, love, love that. That is for sure. All right, let's see. Uh-oh, Packers fan in the house. Who's it tonight? It's the Packers and who else? I forget who else is playing. Let me know. Oh, Eagles. There we go. So let's see, Debbie's an Eagles fan, clearly. I'm not a fan of either. I'm a Bucs guy. I was a Cowboys fan for a long time. I know Should I have admitted that on Dennis's page? Grew up as a Cowboys fan forever, and then just year after year of disappointments, I was like, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. And then finally, when Jerry gave Dak that 4-year, $140 million whatever, that was the end of it for me. Nothing against Dak, but I don't think he was the answer for us, and nothing's happened since then. And by that time, I had moved to Tampa, and I was like, I grew up in Florida, and we like the Bucs and the Dolphins, so just be a full-time Bucs fan now. And it's been great since then, because the next year, so I was a Bucs fan 1 year, and then the second year I became a Bucs fan. Tom Brady came and we won the Super Bowl. I mean, is it not any of a better time to be a Bucs fan than it was when I converted from Cowboys over to the Bucs? My sister and my brother, though, they're still diehard Cowboys fans. And my sister came down the year after we won the Super Bowl, and the first game that season was against the Cowboys, and we went to that game. And thankfully, the Bucs won a last-minute field goal, a game-ending field goal. But that was great to see Tom and Buck and the Bucs win with Gronk as well. And my sister, she wasn't too happy that night. And then Matt, my brother-in-law, who we were talking about earlier that passed away, he came down last year for the opener because he's a Commanders fan. So my sister and him being married for all these years and a Cowboys and Commanders fan, like, it was chaos in their house all year. But they came down and he was like, this is the year we're going to beat you guys, yada, yada, yada. It's opening season. And we whooped them. We whooped the Commanders, and it was so good. So I always have that memory with Matt of him trying to talk smack about the Commanders coming down and taking care of business, and that did not happen. Baker and Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, it took care of business. I think the score was like 37-14 or something, 37-21, something like that. And it was cool. We had seats 11 rows from the field on the end zone, and it was the end zone side that the Bucs were flying down first. So the first touchdown of the game was right in front of us, 11 rows away from Mike Evans doing an over-the-shoulder catch that was beautiful, and Mike Evans was right there, as close as I've ever been to Mike Evans. You'd think, being right across the station, Ray J is right across the street from us, that we'd be more, you know, visible with these Bucs players, or having Jameis Winston come into the studio when he was here, or having Baker. So there's my invite. Please come over and hang out on JAL and DPL with us. We'd love to have the Bucs in here talking weather and sports and all good things. I know that's a shot in the dark, but hey, why not? Throwing it out there. Throwing it out there. All right, questions. Let's see, Mary Roberts. That's me, hashtag squirrel. Yep, I'm like, wait a minute, off to this side, and then back to where I was 5 minutes ago. Priscilla, thank you. Let's see, Tropics we talked about, good to go there. Kathy, thank you and your family for your service. Thank you, family members too. Even if you did not serve, family members go through a lot. So yes, Veterans Day, thank you to the families of our veterans as well. Travis, thank you for your family's service. And yeah, very good stuff. Thankful that the weather's going to be pretty good here for us as we go into tomorrow, outside of it being really cold. So I think that's it for me, guys. I'm not getting too many questions, so I think you guys are Boo Cowboys, Tampa Bay. Ooh, Robin, a Lions fan. Yeah, Lions have been a little Achilles heel for us as of late. Game that we had just a few weeks ago. Let's see, burgundy and gold run through my veins, but Dan Snyder put me off of football altogether from Cassie. 49ers from Katrina. So I kind of got Steelers from Colleen, and more Eagles fans. Yeah, I got a whole mix in here. I mean, that's Tampa, Florida, right? We're just a mixed pot of everything. Awesome. Ken, appreciate it, bud. All right, we'll do one more recap of weather then, and one more time I'll touch on the low temperatures, and then I am going to grab some dinner. What's for dinner tonight? You guys already have dinner? We don't go on until 11, so we kind of hold off on dinner for late here, so we're not starving by the 11 newscast. Let's see. Graphics. Where did they go? Here we are. All right, so throw that up. Let me switch it over here for you guys. Throw it in a double box. And let's talk. All right, so on the right, temperature map. But Greg D, awesome morning meteorologist, he made it to where we have the temperature and the wind chill. So temperature is going to be in black, wind chill is in blue. Tampa forecast 37, 39 degrees. If we drop below 40, remember, new record low. So check in with Greg and Allie tomorrow morning when they're talking about it. If we get below 40, that will break a 133-year standing record. That just goes to show you how crazy cold this air mass is. We do not get cold this early in the season, ever. So very rare for us to see something like this. So yeah, wind chill down to 30 here in Tampa. We've got the cold weather advisory in place for everybody who can hear my voice tonight here in Central Florida. So that means wind chills 25 to 35. We have a freeze warning in Citrus and inland Hernando where temperatures could get down to 30 to 32. and wind chills down to 24 to 25 for you all. Southern counties still very cold, some patchy frost along 17, especially in those more low-lying spots where we get down to 35, 36. Wind chills down to around 30 for you all, but coastal temperatures, thanks to the 70+ degree water temperatures in the Gulf, are going to keep us at around 40 to 43 for the warmest spots. The warmest temperature, not really that warm, St. Pete at 43 degrees when you wake up tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, we're back up to around 60. All sunshine, no issues at all for Veterans Day. It's just going to be a little breezy, not as windy as what it was today. And if you're wondering about the warm-up that's on the way, because yep, it's Florida, you know it's not going to last long, and that's what we've got going forward. We have a big warm-up, and by the time we get to Thursday, Friday, cold's completely gone. Overnight lows back to where they typically are in the 50s and low 60s this time of year, and the overall pattern calls for us to see warmer temperatures than what we have been seeing. So somebody just asked about the long-term forecast, and yeah, the rest of the month looks to be warm. We'll get cold fronts because we get them about once every 7 to 10 days this time of year. And then in December and January, we get one about every 7 days. Sometimes they're really cold, sometimes they don't do anything. And right now we're not really seeing anything showing a significant cool down on the way for us as we get into the next 7 to 14 days. And honestly, even through Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving is looking to be warm right now. But we'll let you know if that changes. You know, the long-term forecasts, they're not always the most reliable. Some of our short-term forecasts, we get a little bit tricked by Mother Nature as well. So that's what we're looking at here. And he has, forgive me if I mispronounce, SRQ temperature tomorrow morning around 41, wind chill around 34 to 36 for you all. So that's going to do it for me tonight. Again, if you want things other than weather, Instagram's my place to be. I post almost every day on Instagram of what I did the week before, where I'm probably going to be at the beach. I probably won't be at the beach this week. I am off Friday now, though, since I'm here Monday. So maybe, if not, definitely next week I'll be at the beach for sure. And yeah, so the Florida Beach Bum on Instagram. You can see the numbers here, the where to find me here. Meteorologist Jason Adams on Facebook, and then on X, if you are over on X, Jason Adams WFTS. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. Have a wonderful week. Stay warm tomorrow morning, and Mom and Dad, do not forget the kids need all that winter gear tomorrow morning at the bus stop. The coldest morning potentially in over 130 years here in Tampa for the date tomorrow, for November 11th. Crazy stuff. All right, guys, have a good night.